Yep. Ding ding, let's go. So this concept of how much aliveness that you have per second, right? Now, it makes me think about miles per hour driving a car. Well, what we have here, us, the I, the individual, this is a vehicle. It's not like a vehicle, it is a vehicle. And we're driving this vehicle. All of the layers of that which keeps us physically going, physically alive, and the layers of ourself, the mental, the emotional, the soul level, if you will. It's all going on. This vehicle is going. We're sustaining it. And ideally, we're making it more and more efficient so that we can ideally operate this vehicle in optimum fashion to make it go as well as possible. So it's really interesting how this concept of this liveliness per second is really a concept of depth, of presence, of lucidity, and at the end of the day, it is an operating system, an MO, modus operandi, that goes beyond time. But, and I wrote this down, if we're speaking of it in terms of time, if we're playing the time game most of the time, right? Sometimes we can live timelessly, and that's honestly like the best way to live, where you're not bound by time. But if we're playing the time game most of the time, anyway, then the talking about timelessness in time, at times, is what we're gonna have to do. For now, at least, as I'm describing it. So, the best of what we can do in this given moment, here we go. So, the way that I like to think about it is, like I discussed at the beginning of this video, per second. How much, and there are a lot of S words that I can use, a lot of D words that I can use, that I even wrote down. So, including but not limited to depth per second, your level of daring per second, your level of done dealness per second. Because when you zoom out far enough, you can really see this life as perfect, as a done deal. Everything's changing all the time. We deal with ups and downs and contrast and absurdities and duality. But how much per second do you feel that you are just done deal? That, okay, right here, right now is fine. I can make changes when I feel that I need to, but right here, right now, this is perfect. This is a done deal. So how much of that feeling, how thick of that feeling per second? What else do we have? Feeling and knowing and encompassing and embodying your level of divinity per second. And you can even feel this as an agnostic, as an atheist. We really don't need religion. We don't need a concept of God. We're talking about divinity in the sense of, hey, we're here. we're alive, we're living this life, and there's something unexplainably and undeniably divine about it. Creation in and of itself. Life. Here it is. It's going on. I like using the term divinity because it gives life a form of importance, a form of reverence. It's like, excuse me, life is an ongoing gift with many layers that are going on simultaneously. The layers of the physical and non-physical body, our surroundings, our environment, the earth, all of the things that keep these atoms and molecules together and working symbiotically, let alone what all goes on beyond Earth, in space, the moon, the changes of the tides, gravitational pull, celestial bodies, the sun, all the other solar systems, the galaxy, the universe, all of this is going on. It's, dare I say, divine. So how much of this can you notice and embody per second? Dedication per second. This is somewhat synonymous with being in the now. If you haven't listened to or read books like The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, how much dedication per second? How much now per second? Because when you get right down to it, everybody's living a pretty similar life. You're a human, you're here on this earth. Sometimes you're in it, sometimes you're spaced out, sometimes you're associated, sometimes you're disassociated. And, it's a spectrum. It's not just, you're definitely associated, you're definitely disassociated. It's a gradient, a spectrum. But how much in dedication are you per second? Where you're here, you're now, you're alive, I am I. So just steeped in that. And the amount of steeped per second is in the S section of the S's per second. Is that all the D's that I have per now? Per now! Yeah. So, in terms of the S's, I've always been, not always, but, in the whole, spiritual journey that I've been on, this concept of, just the main S's for me: soft, slow, sacred, centered. Phonetically, it's got the S. Yeah, I know it starts with a C. Whatever. Just trying to prove a point here. But how soft, slow, sacred, and centered per second are you? Because again, this is a matter of vividness, a matter of fidelity, right? If you think of fidelity in terms of music, the bit rate, how many bits per second, how much of life's music are you really experiencing per second, per minute, per hour, whatever? The fidelity of your now, of each and every now. Right now, as time passes, you keep checking in. And right now, because when it comes to vividness, if you follow or have read books or have watched videos of people who are really just into it, yogis, people like the, the wise ones, the great ones, Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, Krishna, Babaji, etc., etc. These types of people. Their vividness per second, their life, love per second is so high. Their fidelity, their bit rate is so high, they could watch just anything going on in a particular day. Sunny, rainy day, sunrise, sunset. Just looking at a flower, watching the breeze, watching people exist, coexist, and their fidelity, their steepedness, their centeredness, vividness per second is so high. It makes me think of, as much as I, don't really like the, the overall popularity of, what's the guy's name? Sadhguru. He said some pretty awesome stuff, and one of the kind of funny things that he said was, look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. I'm always stoned. I'm always drunk. But it's just like those types of people having like those types of moments of realization of like, I don't need drugs. I don't need all this, food, all this entertainment, all of this stimulation. I can look into someone's eyes. I can look at a flower. I can look and do and see and experience through the senses anything. And it's beautiful and it's amazing. It's intoxicating, but in the most wholesome way. That's what I'm getting at here. And that's honestly what I'm trying to explain, what I'm trying to dictate, what I'm trying to portray in all of my content. This is achievable, and it's not only achievable in my humble opinion, humble observation, and experience. Like, this is where it's at. If you're going to be a professional, if you're going to be world class at anything, this is it. Just being, having awareness, having regard, having higher and higher fidelity of just being alive. This is where it's at. So I'm gonna spend the rest of my life explaining and portraying this, imparting this wisdom, this insight, this experience through words and through videos and, body language, facial expressions and whatnot, to just portray this ongoing, more and more clarified, more and more and expanded truth of living the best life, essentially. I know it sounds cliche. But it's really where it's at. And, when I started on this path, spiritual path, whatever, 10, 11 or so years ago, maybe 12 years ago at this point, I didn't really understand what I was going for, but I just knew that there was something to this spirituality, this, just achievement, or this further and further steeping of more clarity and more expansion of the I, of soul, right? It's like the true I, so to speak. What else we got? The S's per second. Yeah. The spontaneity per second. Just like play around. The spontaneity per second, the silliness per second, the sportiness per second, the spunkiness per second, right? The spark per second, just the soulfulness per second. Like, again, it's like, how alive are you? And if there's any part of you that's like, you know, life can be so dull at times, so ridiculous at times, so freaky at times, I just want more. And it's like, sure, like, watch out for this whole, like, pining and craving for more and more and more. But at the same time, we're getting more and more regardless. Like, we're living more life. We're alive for longer and longer. That's just life. Like, it's happening. We, to whatever extent we are intentional and desiring, we are becoming more and more clarified and more expanded just as life goes on. If we have just a little bit of intentionality, of desire to say to ourselves, you know, let's make an effort here, right? Let's make an effort. And this can be explicit, this can be implicit, just it could just be like a gut feeling, just at a soul level. You're like, let's become more, let me become more of myself. And it's honestly, it's just a letting. Life happens, things pop up, how you respond, how you react, how you feel and observe the feeling, things like this. Your movement, your intention, and your desire to just let it happen and to just softly and slowly and patiently just figure yourself out more. That's what it's all about. And when you increase your fidelity per second, you're picking up on more of your vibes. You're able to discern more. You're able to intuit more. Intuition, huge, if not the hugest, faculty that you have to figure yourself out more and more, to clarify and expand yourself more and more at the heart and soul level and beyond. Because this life, as you know, has many, many, many layers. But it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simplex, if I'm using the term correctly, where there are a lot of components, but just a little bit at a time. But as you increase your fidelity per second, you're able to handle more and more of life. Every second, every now, every moment. So yeah, what else do we got? Stature per second, security per second. And security goes in line with just being more and more knowing that life is perfect. It's clarifying and expanding as life goes on. It's not a yes but situation. It's a yes and situation. It's not I'm perfect and just perfect. Because life goes on. Things change and transcend. Ebbs and flows, ups and downs. So it's perfect and clarifying and expanding. perfect and getting better. Life is cool like that. I tell you, life is cool like that. Alright, let's wrap this video up strong per second. And strength comes in multiple layers. Physical strength. Kudos if you're implicitly working on that, your physical strength. Because working on your physical strength is a game of longevity as well. The science confirms yet and yet again that having a solid, strong, fluid, loose, muscular, physical body helps with your longevity. Muscle mass, specifically what I'm thinking of, but it's all integrated. One integrated being. But physical strength, mental, emotional strength in terms of resilience, referring to, can life smack you around? Can life smack you around and you find the times and places and spaces to rest and say, okay, that happened. I'm resting well, I'm reflecting, and I want to go out and do it all again. Maybe better, maybe worse than today, but I'm doing life. Just doing it. So yeah, that mental, emotional strength, that resilience, that just willingness. Because it makes me think about my job working with children, where in some senses it has gotten easier, but easier because I've been putting in thousands and thousands of hours. I haven't done the calculations recently, but I'm probably near 13,000 hours working with children. And it's such a blessing because it's helping me become more and more of an adult, and eventually going to make me an excellent parent. But children remind us of the things that most adults have forgotten. Things like playfulness, spontaneity, resilience, forgiveness. That bounce back effect of you can be in utter, intense, stressful, just hellish situations, and then seconds later, I experience this with children on a daily basis, and this is something that I've integrated in my life, and that you, if you so choose, can integrate in your life, where you can go through absolute hell, and then seconds later, if you have that resilience, that playfulness in you, seconds later you can go through absolute hell back to a natural human state, which is joyfulness and playfulness. Heaven. You can go through absolute hell and stress and just, deep pits of fury, rage, anger, sadness, and then just a quick gradient back to joyfulness, playfulness, fun, laughing, good times. You could argue that sounds like a bit of a bipolar mood swing, but there's also, on the flip side of that argument, there's also plenty to be said about experiencing a full range of emotions, not being against deep, deep sadness and anger, and deep, deep joyfulness and happiness. But the meat in the middle, in more ways than one, in terms of the arguments and in terms of the mental emotional spectrum is, as long as we can quickly, relatively quickly return to a homeostasis, centeredness, peace, calm, that's what really matters. Because in terms of bipolar mood swings, if you're just like in the thick of it, either side, or you could see it as like a XY, whatever, map, quadrant type of thing. It's just like wherever you are, you can make the postulation, the observation that if you're in a mood swing wherever you are, and it's difficult to reach a point of center, stillness, peace, and calm, like if you're lost in the sauce, then yeah, you might have some work to do. You might need to look at that, right? So, I think last but not least, synchronization per second. That's a good tie-in to talking about being centered. To just be synced in, where you can have a quick gradient shift. And I like using the term gradient because our moods, our perspectives, our perceptions, it doesn't go from, to use the XY quadrant, it doesn't go from 0, 0 to 5, 7, or 0, 0 to -3, -9, just instantly. Like, we, as humans, we're working in waveforms. It is an unbroken wave, an unbroken chain, whatever, of beingness, where it's a gradient, right? Imagine a gradient of colors, where it's not black to white, it's not green to blue, it's a gradient. So, in terms of physical, mental, emotional, just swings of mood, of perception, etc., it goes in like gradients. So, synchronization per second, that's essentially synonymous with the centeredness, the steepedness, the centeredness, synchronization, which goes in line with attunement, alignment, because when you're attuned, when you're aligned, it's a feeling, it's a knowing that life, the way that it is perfect. It's in constant change, constant flux, constant ebb and flow, right now, and every now, is perfect, and you know it. You feel it on the heart and soul level. You know it. That's attunement, that's alignment, that's synchronization. You feel it, you know it. Life is perfect. Life is being lived. I am living. I am being lived. It's perfect. Things are changing, and that's perfect. My life is my life, and it's perfect. Straight up. And if that, or anything else that I've said in this video or in other videos, you're like, man, this guy's on some woo-woo crap. This isn't real for me. This isn't true for me. Hey, fair enough. All I can really say is you can lead a horse to water. And I'm not trying to be callous, but making these videos. I'm making this content in general. Videos, spoken word, audio, writings, my books, my writings online on blogs and whatnot, on Medium, perhaps. At the time of you listening to this, my stuff is still on Medium. I was thinking about doing it on Substack. Who knows? All of this content is my desire and my love of sharing the the very true reality of this is where I am, this is where many people are, just existentially, vibrationally. Yeah, it's a woo-woo word, whatever, but synchronizationally, this is where I'm at, this is where many people are at, and this is if this is something that you want, this is what my content's all about. If this is what you want, it's achievable. Let me help you get there, right? Straight up. As I like to end videos with respects, much respect to you, much respect to us for doing this up. Increasing our fidelity per second so that we love life more and more. Our love per second, right? Our fidelity, our vividness per second. Our love for life per second. Much respect to you, to us, to the earth, all the physical and non-physical layers of the eye, of earth, of just space and time and just life in general. Much respect to all of it. This is Mr. Mike. Catch you later.